Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Whitney Van Laningham, and oh my god, New Dimension just dropped. In episode 3 of Ms. Marvel, we meet a brand new team of interstellar baddies, the Djinn, or the Clandestine, extraterrestrials who were banished to Earth and have spent the last 100 years trying to get back home. But getting home requires the use of the bangle they found while tomb raiding, and that superpowered piece of jewelry just so happens to be in the hands of a 16-year-old Avengers fangirl. Today, I'm going to break down everything we know about the Djinn, Clandestines, and their afterlife, the Noor. We meet this group in British-occupied India in 1942, just as they've found a magical item that they believe will help them return to their home planet. Their crew is made up of Aisha, Kamala's great-grandmother, Najma, the leader and future mother of Kamran, Faria, Salim, and Adam. Najma and the others have super strength. Faria can summon a spear to use in battle, Salim has a weaponized belt-turned whip called an Urumi, and Adam wields a mace. We haven't yet gotten a clean look at Najma's weapon, but it appears to be a double-bladed throwing weapon shaped like a lightning bolt. They find the bangle still attached to a severed Kree arm, which tells me that it might be an ancient type of Kree tech, but we'll come back to that later. Although the bracelet is missing its twin, and Faria voices her concern that there's a whole-ass dead body part attached to it, they decide to risk it anyways, because they have no other options. This bangle is their only hope of returning to their home dimension. When the cave collapses, the team is separated and Aisha disappears along with the bangle. Najma explains to Kamala that her great-grandmother, along with the rest of the Clandestine, are not exactly from around these parts. Their party didn't arrive on Earth by choice. They were forced out of their own dimension and doomed to live in ours. She also reveals to Kamala that they are beings from the Noor dimension, the word Noor meaning divine light in Arabic. This appears to be the afterlife-esque place we saw filled with all of those glowing figures in the first episode. Its purple hue is reminiscent of the lavender glow of both the ancestral planes and the Duat, but their main difference is that the Noor, like the astral plane, also houses living beings like this party. Najma and the others aren't able to access the Noor's true potential from our dimension, but she believes that because of Kamala's connection to Earth, she may be the key to unlocking their gateway home. According to Najma, this group of supernatural beings goes by a lot of names. Ajnabi, which means strange, alien, or foreign, Majnun, which roughly translates to crazy person, unseen, or the Clandestine, but they're most commonly known as Djinn. The folklore of Djinn was passed down from pre-Islamic mythology, and were referred to as genies as the Anglo-Saxon world learned of these creatures. Like humans, Djinn can either be good or evil, so some people also call them demons depending on the being's personal vibe. In IRL mythology, they're also invisible to the human eye and age at a much slower rate than us normies do. Later, when Kamala's dad reads Bruno's Djinn research out loud, we learn that in the MCU, there's also an additional legend that a group of Djinn were exiled here from their home, damned to live out the rest of their long, miserable days on this planet. And according to him, Djinn move in the shadows, searching for an artifact that will take them home. In the comics, depictions of Djinn are sporadic, inconsistent, and rarely culturally sensitive. One of the notable groups of Djinn was the obscure family the Clandestine. In 1994, Alan Davis first introduced the Clandestine in Marvel Comics Presents number 158. This Clandestine was 2 words, as in the family clan of Destine. This comic run introduced a man named Adam Destine, who was visited in a dream by a Djinn named Alalith. Believing her to be an angel, Adam released her from captivity with the new power she granted him, and the two fell in love. Alalith turned Adam into an immortal man, and the two had half Djinn, half human children, who together formed the Clandestine. The family Destine used their powers primarily for selfish gain in the comics, spreading their lineage across the world. Some of these branches became supervillains, while others ended up working alongside various Marvel heroes as time moved through the modern age. This run gave us a look at the way superhumans alter their powers and allegiances over the centuries, adapting as the years went on. In the MCU, however, the Clandestine, 1 word not 2, that we meet in Ms. Marvel are fully Djinn, but like their comic book predecessors, they still clearly use their powers for their own selfish motivations. Although they pretend to be on Kamala's side in the beginning, offering her their guidance and protection, Najma flips on a dime when Kamran confesses that it might be too dangerous for Kamala to send them home via interdimensional bangle. He tells Kamala that his mom will stop at absolutely nothing to get her way, and that like the other Djinn, will kill every single person at the wedding on sight. Side quest, did anyone else think that it was kind of bonkers that they've been waiting over 100 years to find this thing, and the second Kamala hesitates they want her blood? Like, calm down, dudes, you've waited this long, have a little patience. She probably would have helped you if you just gave her some time, like even a single day. After the fight, Najma grabs Kamala's wrist, clasping the bangle in her palm. The two of them experience a vision of a locomotive barreling towards them from the Noor dimension. The train has the word Karachi emblazoned on the front. Karachi is the largest city in Pakistan, and apparently where Kamala's grandma Nani lives. After the Djinn are subdued and taken into custody by the DODC, Nani FaceTimes Kamala back in her bedroom at home. She urges her granddaughter to come to Karachi immediately, and to bring her mother along as well. Nani reveals that she also saw the train in a Noor vision, confirming that the women in their family all likely possess the talents imbued in them by their ancestors. So that's everything we currently know about the Djinn, at least according to the comics in the first few episodes of Ms. Marvel. But now it's time to theorize. Why were the Clandestine exiled from the Noor? Given the team's incredibly violent tendencies, I bet my britches that they were villains in their home dimension too. But if that's the case, it would also mean that Aisha did something banishment-worthy. I definitely don't want to make any rash assumptions that Kamala's great-grandma was a supervillain, because I respect the elderly, but I don't know. Maybe these guys got kicked out because they were being assholes. My question is, what exactly did they do? That's where the Kree technology used to create the bangle might come in. This is definitely speculation, and I could be totally wrong, but hear me out. What if these Djinn were involved somehow in the Kree-Skrull War? It would explain how they knew to look for the bangles, and if they committed any war crimes during these space battles, that could constitute grounds for banishment from the Noor. Comic book Kamala was also a descendant of Kree war instruments by way of her inhuman heritage, so this might be how the MCU retains her connection to the Kree without making her go through Terrigenesis. I'll admit that it's kind of a wild theory, but there are other ways that Kevin Feige could ultimately connect the Djinn and the Kree, especially with the Noor dimension in play. Could the Kree also have access to the Noor? Could the technology that they've built, including this bangle, be pulling from this dimension? In the same way that Moon Knight drew his powers from Khonshu in the Duat, and Black Panther drew his strength from his father in the Ancestral Planes, are the figures we saw in the Noor somehow providing magic for those connected to their realm? Erik speculated in his video that this bangle could be ancient Kree technology from a group that arrived on Earth, possibly around the same time that the vibranium meteorite crashed in Wakanda. Perhaps, like the 10 Rings, the Kree also brought these bangles to our planet long ago. And now that we've learned the rules of the many MCU afterlives, I'm interested to know why exactly Kamala, her family, and her Djinn relatives picture the Noor as blinding purple light. Actually, Erik did a whole video summarizing everything we know about these dead worlds that you should check out in full. But to summarize a bit of what he already told ya, these afterlives typically appear to those that experience them as whatever the person's earthly beliefs, customs, or even fears were in life. Stephen Grant and Mark Spector find themselves in a psych ward, Thanos sees the archway where he first met Gamora, the Ancient One ventured to the astral plane, and Odin's soul went to Valhalla when he died. Because of this inherent trait in all MCU afterlife and afterlife-adjacent dimensions, it's understandable that Kamala, Hernani, and Najma all saw that train. Right beforehand, Najma accused Kamala of betraying her. So my theory is that this train is attached to some sort of fear, trauma, or past regret, possibly stemming from Aisha's abandonment. Not only did she disappear from her Djinn buddies with the bangle in tow, she isn't Kamala's family's favorite member. Aisha is seldom spoken of, and it's clear that Kamala's mom doesn't talk about her at all. Are they collectively picturing this train in the Noor due to Aisha's perceived betrayal? Could Aisha have been killed by this train for refusing to turn over the bangles, subsequently seemingly abandoning her family without warning? I don't have an answer for exactly what or who these glowing figures are, however. Erik has speculated that they look like the outlines of Watchers, but they could also be Djinn spirits in their homeworld. There might even be a few Kree souls in there, who knows? But like I said a second ago, I do think that the bangle could be drawing its powers from these beings, whatever they are. And if Kamala really does have a stronger connection to the realm, either because of her human status or due to the Clandestine's banishment, we'll hopefully get to learn their true identities by the end of the season. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Whitney Puppy, follow New Rockstars, subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love, and thanks for watching. Bye.